Hello! Welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy Fun Afternoon as a Girl, by Lacey Rice. My wife looked up at me, holding a pair of Barbie princess panties that she had picked out for me at the store. Usually, this would be weird. Yet, due to my current problems, being given panties that are for kindergarteners isn't the weirdest thing that has happened to me today. My body wasn't my normal 34-year-old body. For the past few years, I had always allowed my wife to turn me into a little boy magically. You wouldn't believe how relaxing it is for me to come home from a stressful day at work as a sales consultant and unwind as a carefree 6-year-old boy. Plus, my wife got to play mother for a few hours of the day. But this time, my wife had other plans. Instead of the 6-year-old that she normally turns me into, this time she turned me into a 6-year-old little girl. I blinked in astonishment, looking down at my diminutive hands and the too big for me t-shirt that I had been wearing. My wife had always been into magic, but this transformation was unlike anything I'd experienced before. I tugged at the t-shirt, knowing that if I lifted it, I would find a fully girl's body underneath. "Oh, honey," I stammered, my voice higher and more childlike than I remembered. "What just happened?" She beamed at me, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Surprise! I thought we'd switch things up a bit today. You've been such a good sport about becoming a little boy, I thought you might being a little girl for a change." I tried to process this new reality, feeling a mix of curiosity, confusion, and a hint of embarrassment. It was strange to look down at my small bare feet and see the world from a child's perspective. But as I took tentative steps in my new form, I couldn't deny a certain sense of wonder. My wife led me to the mirror, where I gazed at my transformed self. Long hair, rosy cheeks, and innocent blue eyes stared back at me. It was surreal, to say the least. My wife helped me get dressed. The Barbie panties being the least girly thing she had me wear as she put me into pink dress and white tights. I hesitated as she held up the pink dress, its frilly edges and floral pattern more suited for a little girl's tea party than anything I'd ever imagined wearing. "Are you sure about this, honey?" I asked, my voice still carrying the uncertainty of my newfound identity. My wife chuckled, kneeling to my eye level. "Absolutely! It's just for fun, and you always say you enjoy the change of pace. Plus, it's a chance for me to pamper my little girl for a change." She helped me step into the dress and smoothed out the fabric, and it was hard to deny that it felt strangely comfortable. The dress hung loosely on my smaller frame, but it added to the illusion of being a little girl. My wife even produced a small tiara, placing it gently on my head. I couldn't help but giggle at the silliness of it all. As I looked at my reflection in the mirror again, I saw the transformation was complete. I was no longer the 34-year-old man who worked a stressful job as a sales consultant. Instead, I was a carefree 6-year-old girl, ready to embark on a magical adventure of my own. My wife, who had a way of making everything feel special, twirled me around and clapped her hands. "There you go, my little princess! Don't you look adorable?" I couldn't help but smile and twirl around in my new dress, feeling a rush of childlike delight. It was a strange and unexpected turn of events, but I couldn't deny that there was something liberating about experiencing life from this new perspective. It was as if the worries and responsibilities of adulthood had temporarily melted away. My wife knelt again, helping me into a pair of small Mary Jane shoes that matched the dress perfectly. As I looked down at my tiny feet adorned with those dainty shoes, I couldn't help but feel a sense of innocence and vulnerability wash over me. It was as if I had been transported to a world where adulthood's worries and complexities no longer existed. With a tender smile, my wife took my hand. "Ready for our adventure, my little princess?" I nodded my head knowing the next step. My wife pressed her hand to my forehead and my grown-up male mind slowly took a backseat as a new child's brain that of a little girl started to take over. I looked up at Mommy with wide, innocent eyes, my previous identity as a grown man now fading into the background. Thoughts of work and adult responsibilities were replaced by the simple wonder and curiosity of a child. It was as if a switch had been flipped, and I was fully immersed in this enchanting transformation. Mommy smiled warmly at me, her eyes filled with love and tenderness. "That's my good girl," she said, her voice soft and reassuring. We're going to have the most wonderful adventure today, just you and me." I beamed up at Mommy, feeling a surge of affection and trust. Her words filled me with a sense of security, assuring me that this day as a little girl would be filled with love and adventure. With a skip in my step, I followed Mommy as we made our way downstairs to the living room. "So, what are we doing today, Mommy?" I asked. Mommy picked me up and put me on the couch. "So today I was thinking about having you spend some time with your Uncle Luke," Mommy said. I tilted my head. "Your brother will be here today?" I asked, the male part of my brain momentarily taking over. Both nervousness and being afraid washed over me. "Well, I do have another surprise for you," Mommy said, calming me down. "What, Mommy?" I asked. Mommy smiled warmly, realizing that my emotions were still adjusting to the idea of Uncle Luke's visit. She held my hand and said, "Don't worry, sweetheart, Uncle Luke is going to be here, but he's in on the surprise too. You'll see." Just then, the doorbell rang, and Mommy got up to answer it, leaving me on the couch, my childlike curiosity building. Moments later, Uncle Luke entered the living room, a playful grin on his face. "Hey there, Ethan," he greeted me using my male name and ruffling my hair gently. I couldn't help but giggle at his playful gesture. "I can't believe that Rhea got you to become a little girl. Mommy says I looked adorable," I said, not realizing that I proved his point even more now. Uncle Luke chuckled warmly, seemingly entertained by the situation. "Well, you do make a cute little girl, Ethan. But don't worry, it's all in good fun." I looked around. Mommy didn't come in with Uncle Luke. Sensing I was wondering where Mommy was, Uncle Luke stopped me. "Rhea said she will be a moment, Ethan. Don't worry, she'll be back soon." Uncle Luke's reassurance helped calm my nerves as I looked around for Mommy. I trusted him and knew that he wouldn't let anything happen to me, especially with the surprise they had in store. While we waited for Mommy to return, Uncle Luke began to engage me in a playful conversation. Knowing that my mind was now of a little girl, as he asked me about my new dress and do I feel any different as a little girl than as a little boy. His warm and friendly demeanor put me at ease, and soon we were chatting like old friends. Suddenly a little boy who was a few years older than me walked into the living room. I stopped talking to Uncle Luke and looked the boy. We both stayed quiet until the boy spoke first. "Sissy, it's me, Rhea, I'm now your brother." I stared in amazement at the older boy who had just walked into the room and introduced himself as my wife, Rhea, now transformed into a little boy. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, and I began to understand the full scope of the magical transformation that had taken place. My initial surprise gave way to a sense of wonder and acceptance. It was clear that today was a day of magical surprises and adventures beyond my wildest imagination. I felt a rush of affection for my wife, who had orchestrated this incredible experience. I took a step closer to the transformed Rhea, my heart filled with love for the person who had been my wife just moments ago and was now my big brother. "Rhea, it's really you," I said, my voice filled with warmth and affection. "This is amazing." Rhea grinned and gave me a playful nudge. "I thought it would be fun to experience life from your perspective for a change," he said, "and I have to admit, being a little boy is quite the adventure." Uncle Luke, who had been observing the scene with a knowing smile, joined in the conversation. "Well, it looks like we're in for a day of surprises and new experiences," he said. "I'm thrilled to be a part of it." "So, what all are we doing today, Uncle Luke?" Rhea asked, sitting on the couch. "Well, I thought we could go to the lake and swim, maybe we can even go to the park later too," Uncle Luke said. I couldn't contain my excitement as Uncle Luke mentioned the plans for the day. The idea of going to the lake, swimming, and visiting the park filled me with joy. It promised to be a day filled with adventure and fun. Rhea, my transformed big brother, clapped his hands in delight, mirroring my enthusiasm. "That sounds like so much fun, Uncle Luke." Uncle Luke smiled warmly at both of us. "I'm glad you think so, Rhea. And Ethan, I know you might be experiencing all of this as a little girl right now, but remember, it's all about having a great time together as a family." I nodded eagerly, understanding that the day's activities were about bonding and creating cherished memories. It didn't matter that I was currently a little girl, what mattered was the love and togetherness we shared. As I settled into the pink booster seat in Uncle Luke's car, I couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and anticipation. The day had taken an unexpected and magical turn, and now we were headed to the lake for a day of adventure and family bonding. Rhea, my transformed big brother, sat beside me in the car, his eyes filled with curiosity and enthusiasm. I could tell he was just as excited as I was about the day's activities. Uncle Luke, with a cheerful smile, started the car and began our journey to the lake. The drive was filled with chatter and laughter as we discussed what we might do at the lake and how much fun it would be. "So, we need new names if we are going to be doing this," Rhea said. "I mean, Rhea is too girly for it being a boy's name, right?" "New names? That sounds like fun!" I replied with enthusiasm. The prospect of choosing new names added an exciting layer to our magical adventure. Uncle Luke, who was driving the car, glanced at us through the rearview mirror and joined in the conversation. "Well, if you two are up for it, let's brainstorm some new names for your day as a little girl and little boy." Rhea, always quick with ideas, spoke up first. "How about Ryan for me? It's a nice, neutral name." I nodded in agreement. "Ryan sounds great for you, Rhea. And for me? How about Emma?" Uncle Luke chuckled. "Ryan and Emma, it is, then! Two wonderful names for two adventurous kids." With our new identities settled, we continued our journey to the lake, excited about the day's adventures that awaited us as Ryan and Emma. Soon, we arrived at the picturesque lake, the sun glistening on the water's surface. It was a perfect day for swimming and outdoor adventures. Uncle Luke helped me out of the car, and we all made our way to the water's edge. I felt a surge of childlike joy as I looked out at the lake. The cares of adulthood had faded away, and I was a carefree 6-year-old girl ready to embrace the day's adventures. Ryan and I held hands as we approached the water, our excitement building. I started to run toward the water, but Uncle Luke stopped me. "Remember, you two, you have to put on your swimsuits on first." Uncle Luke's reminder about putting on our swimsuits made me pause in my tracks, realizing that in my excitement, I had forgotten about the necessary preparations. I nodded eagerly, understanding that we needed to change into our swimsuits before jumping into the lake. "Okay, Uncle Luke!" I replied with enthusiasm, feeling the anticipation build. Ryan and I followed Uncle Luke back to the car, where he had our swimsuits ready. As he handed them to us, I couldn't help but giggle at the thought of splashing around in the water as a little girl while also wearing a little girl's swimsuit. With our swimsuits in hand, we made our way to a changing area near the lake. Ryan helped me get the white with red and green dots one-piece swimsuit on, and soon we were both wearing our swimsuits, ready for our aquatic adventure. As we returned to the water's edge, I felt a sense of freedom and exhilaration. The cool breeze, the inviting water, and the company of my family filled me with happiness. I looked at Ryan, my fellow adventurer for the day, and couldn't wait to dive into the lake and make wonderful memories together. Uncle Luke, always a playful one, scooped up some water with his hands and splashed it toward us, eliciting laughter, and squeals of delight. It was a perfect start to our day at the lake, and I couldn't have asked for a more magical and fun-filled adventure. Together, as Ryan and Emma, we waded into the lake, ready to embrace the joy of childhood and create lasting memories in this enchanting world of magic and wonder. The water felt cool and refreshing as it lapped at our toes, and I couldn't resist the urge to take a few more steps in. I looked at Ryan with a mischievous smile and whispered, "Race you to the deeper water!" Without waiting for a response, I took off, my small legs churning through the water as I giggled with glee. Ryan quickly followed suit, and we splashed and played in the shallows, our laughter echoing across the lake. Uncle Luke joined in the fun, and soon we were all engaged in a spirited water fight, using our tiny hands to send droplets flying through the air. It was a scene of pure joy and playfulness, and I couldn't have asked for a better way to spend the day. After our water play, we decided to take a break and have a picnic by the lake. Uncle Luke had packed a delicious spread of sandwiches, fruit, and snacks, and we sat on a checkered blanket, enjoying our meal in the warm sunshine. As we ate, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of contentment. The cares and worries of adulthood were far from my mind, and I was fully immersed in the magic of this day as Emma, a carefree 6-year-old girl. Ria, who had become my little brother for the day, grinned at me. "Emma, this is the best adventure ever!" I nodded in agreement, a smile stretching across my face. "I couldn't agree more, Ryan! It's like we're living in a fairy tale!" Uncle Luke, who had been watching us with a fond smile, chimed in. "You two make this day truly special! I'm so glad we decided to embark on this adventure together!" With our picnic finished, we decided to explore the area around the lake. Ryan put on a t-shirt and I put on a pair of pink shorts. We took a leisurely stroll along the shoreline, collecting colorful pebbles and shells, and even spotting a family of ducks swimming nearby. Every discovery filled us with wonder and excitement. As the day wore on, we made our way to the nearby park, where we played on swings, climbed on the jungle gym, and had a friendly game of tag. It was a day filled with laughter, adventure, and the pure joy of being a child. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a warm, golden glow across the landscape, we knew our magical adventure was coming to an end. But the memories we had created would stay with us forever. Back at home, as my wife transformed herself and I back into our adult selves, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of gratitude for the day's unexpected journey. It had reminded me of the importance of play, wonder, and the simple joys of childhood. As I returned to my usual role as a sales consultant and responsible adult, I carried with me the memory of that day as Emma, a reminder that sometimes, during life's challenges, it's essential to embrace the magic of being a child and let go of our worries, even if just for a little while. Maybe one day I'll ask Ria to turn me back into Emma.